I guess it's just us. This is what we enjoy. Anyway, welcome back to the channel. This is a video response to Jordan Peterson. Whoa, I have a friend. And it's not, I don't expect Jordan Peterson to see this video. I mean, it's not a personal thing. It is addressing an idea he put forth in one of his classroom talks about crazy
This is something
women.
my wife has pointed out too. She said, well, men are going to have to stand up for themselves, but here's the problem. I know how to stand up to a man who's unfairly trespassing against me. And the reason I know that is because the parameters for my resistance are quite well defined, which is we talk, we argue, we push, and then it becomes physical. Right? Like if we move beyond the boundaries of civil discourse, we know what the next step is. Okay, that's forbidden in discourse with women. Right. And so I don't think that men can control crazy women. I really don't believe it. I think that they have to throw their hands up in it's not even disbelief. It's that there's no step forward that you can take under those circumstances, because if the man is offensive enough and crazy enough, the reaction becomes physical right away, or at least the threat is there. And when men are talking to each other in any serious manner, that underlying threat of physicality is always there, especially if it's a real conversation, and it keeps the thing civilized to some degree. You know, if you're talking to a man who wouldn't fight with you under any circumstances whatsoever, then you're talking to someone to whom you have absolutely no respect. But I can't see any way. For example, there's a woman in Toronto who's been organizing this movement, let's say, against me and some other people who are going to do a free speech event, and she managed to organize quite effectively, and she's quite offensive, you might say. She compared us to Nazis, for example, which, you know, publicly, using the swastika, which wasn't really something I was all that fond of. But I'm defenseless against that kind of female insanity, because...
And in it, he describes how, as a man, he doesn't have a lot of options. He does not see a lot of options for a man to deal with a crazy woman, because men deal with each other in a certain way. And he puts forth that the men deal with each other with an understanding that there's a point at which words will no longer work and we're going to go to blows. And I think he's, you know, generally right in that. The modern man has kind of been feminized because there's so many of them raised by single moms, so they don't always have that point at which they go to blows, but generations before them sure did. And then his contention is that because a man cannot really deal with a crazy woman because he's going to want to go to blows with her and he's not allowed to, that it's up to women to kind of rein crazy women in. And I'm sorry, Jordan, but you're wrong there in your thinking, because as a woman, I want nothing to do with that crazy woman. I have avoided crazy women my whole life. Sometimes now, I'm not the only, just because I don't want to have anything to do with her doesn't mean that no woman wants to have anything to do with her. No rational, sane, non-dramatic woman wants to have anything to do with her. But other crazy women who like drama and are used to it and are more comfortable when there's chaos than not may be drawn to her. But they're not going to rein her in. They're going to whirl up more drama and crazy activity. And so he says, you know, it's up to women to rein her in. Sorry, no, she's pretty scary and she could get violent and I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not having anything to do with her. So that'll fall back on who has responsibility for that woman. Well, if you married her, you do. If you are her husband, it is your responsibility to deal with her, because you did marry her, and in marrying her, you are saying, I am responsible for her. So my advice to you is, get that book, The Brain That Changes Itself. Understand that anybody can change at any time. All they have to do is want to do it and begin thinking of the change, and they can make the change. So if you're with a crazy woman, first thing you want to do is get her isolated so she can't get any other stimulus, and then you start feeding into her the behavior the expectation, the trust, and all the different things that make a person who they are, and you change her yourself. If she's not married, then it's her family's responsibility. And this is all coming from a biblical perspective. I always speak from a biblical perspective. If she is not married, she is her parents' responsibility. She is her family's responsibility. And I would say the same thing. Get her isolated and get it to where you can feed her only the things you want to see coming back from her. Have patience and love. If she is medically insane, not behaviorally, caused by some trauma or abuse or something, if she is medically insane, then you need to get her the medical help to take care of her. If she's just dramatic, she learned it somewhere. Keep the drama for your mama, kind of thing. Everyone around her needs to bring the drama down, not bring it up. And if you cannot control her, then you cannot control her. And whatever happens, happens. But that's my response to Jordan. Jordan, yeah, no. People like me have been avoiding those people their whole lives for a reason, because I am not directly linked to her. If it was my sister, it's a different matter. But if she's a stranger to me, she's as much trouble to me as she is to you, and you are better equipped if you are her husband and have the responsibility to take care of her, or if you are her family, you have the responsibility to take care of her, not some unknown woman from nowhere. All right, you guys, be good. That's an addendum. Shalom. Jordan may say, yes, you individually cannot control that lady, but if you're in a group with her, like a quilting group or a walking club, group pressure may change that lady. And if I were in a group with a person like that, then I would try to do what influence I could. If he made that point, that would be my response to that. All right, bless you. Shalom.